Broadland itself came into existence back in 1963 and we're a traditional housing association based primarily in Norfolk and North Suffolk. Now, one of the things that we believe fundamentally as an organisation is that we should be actually building sustainable communities, not mono-tenure communities. But under the sort of the terms of reference for the housing association, we can only actually build housing for people in housing need. And we recognise that actually if you just build communities which just have people in a high degree of need without having a mix of them, it's actually much more difficult for that community to be successful. So it wasn't just that we established St Benedict's to generate some profit that we can then subsidise the affordable housing. It was actually that we wanted to establish St Benedict's so we had a vehicle that in the future we can actually build more mixed communities where you might have some market sale housing alongside some affordable rented, alongside some shared ownership and perhaps alongside some intermediate rent.
It's really important for us to actually work our way through this, work our way through our partnerships and find out how in the future St Benedict's can actually either deliver open market housing on its own or part of partnerships with contractors like John Young's Homes, and actually how St Benedict's can help Broadland deliver mixed communities in the future. The potential is that we're going to need St Benedict's Homes to be able to produce open market housing, which we're then able to be able to gift aid any profits back into the association to deliver more affordable housing, which is really what the group is there to do. St Benedict's is going to be that, hopefully, that enabler that will allow us to continue to build very, very important affordable housing for Norfolk.
We're in Pleasant Court, Kings Lynn, and this is a redevelopment project of the scheme. It's 98 properties, and the works that have been undertaken are extension of the bedsits into one-bedroom flats and general needs works to first floor and second floor flats.
We've had phases of where we're taking out stairwells for keeping the communal areas open so people can still access their flats. So there's been some quite coordinated efforts to get the thing built. So.
As soon as we knew where it was coming to, that was brilliant.
And you got a bit of choice about where you wanted it to be, because you wanted to be in kind of the middle in the sun, didn't you?
Yeah, and we've got everything that we asked for, and that's been really nice, you know.
There's 20 flats. The basic studio flat is a kitchen living room area with a bathroom and a hallway. Then you can expand by opening up the bedroom, so you can expand for the size of the families and accommodation. I have a background of working with learning disabilities, mental health, drug, alcohol and also housing, and then say Phil, my colleague, who's more of children's services. Also do a lot of work with local authority with the housing team, the homelessness team, because they're where we get our main referrals from at the moment. A lot of the time is spent building up those relationships and putting plans into place to make sure these things work, because the client group needs that outcome in their life. It's very satisfying and, well, you'll love it. It's my life. A lot of the time I prefer to be here than at home.
I had nowhere else to go. My son has autism and my grandson has ADHD and the two don't mix. So it wasn't feasible to live with them for too long. So we came here, we were told to come here. Well, I went to the council with a notice my daughter had given me. They said I would get a phone call from here, and somebody rang me from here when I was going home on the bus, and I was here 2 or 3 days later, and that's it. Really just wait and see what happens now. Somewhere for Ian to be, somewhere he's safe and can feel safe. We can sort things out and come round a bit, really. It is worth its weight in gold, definitely. They do a lot of work, deal with a lot of things.
His name's Virgil and I'm his twin sister. And he's 43 and he's been drinking since he was 14 years old. But he has a couple of times where he's sort of come off the drink. You know, about 10 years ago was the last time he actually come off the drink. He was off it for about 18 months. But then he had problems in his life which made him turn back to drink. I had a really bad situation about 14 years ago, I think it is, something like that. And I was put in here and that actually built my confidence up, got me ready to move on. And I actually got a job and things like that straight after, as soon as I was here. So, and they actually did quite quick. I actually moved on quite quick when I was here. I think they should have more places like this ready for people to move on, because I don't think there's that many places for families.
My partner kicked me and my children out earlier as when I went to the council. I'd stay with a friend that night. And then she put me in touch with AD. I called AD, I came here, had a look around and moved in the next day. Everybody's brilliant. I mean, I've had support from the word go, really. I mean, Ailey's been fantastic, helping me get sorted and, you know, just making sure everything's all right, so if you've got everything you need. I mean, luckily I've managed to sort everything out, but, I mean, they were there to help with everything, really.
If you're a business, you don't want constant turnover. You want somebody to move in, pay their rent, stay there, thanks very much indeed. Whereas this part of our business, we actually want people to move on as quickly as possible. Homelessness hasn't gone away as a problem, and we've got one scheme here. So actually I don't mind constant turnover, because actually it means that families are finding better long-term solutions for themselves.
It's a Gypsy and Travellers site. It's one of the first ones that were designed in this type in the country. There was a new consultation document that was issued, and we designed the site to this new document. Previously it was an existing tolerated site where people were staying. It was just a bit of a muddy field, really. We went out and we consulted and spoke to the people who are living there at the moment, and took their comments on board in the design of the new site. And now some of the people who were living there before have actually moved back on the site now it's been developed.
Most of the gypsies these days ain't got nowhere to stay and things, and are in houses and things, but this caravan site, you know, is better than being in a house and things. I wouldn't like to be in a house, you know, so I'm used to the fresh air and open, you know. It's very good to, you know, be on here and things, and it's very quiet and things, you know, you can do your own thing. It is cool, you know, and things like that, because like when you pulled on a field or something, you just got a generator, you know. It's not really that good. But here you've got electric and things and water, you know. It is better, a lot better. I think they should make a lot of sites like this one, and everybody would be happy, you know.
I support them to sustain their tenancy, so linking up with services such as dentists, schools, connections, CSR, other provision, helping them with budgeting. For pretty much everyone on the site, it's the first time they've ever had a tenancy, so it's just getting them used to learning how to manage the tenancy, basically. Now, living on Brooks Green, giving them a permanent address and a postcode, they can register with dentists, they can register permanently with the doctors, and they need these services, and they understand that they do need to access these services. And I think the services are getting more and more aware of Gypsy and Traveller culture. Basically, it's got a permeable surface, which means that any liquid will soak into the ground. Ordinarily, a site would have concrete base, which means it constantly has to be cleaned. We've got an oil-based interceptor and a water-based interceptor, which soaks away and then is cleaned out on, I think, a 6-monthly basis. They've got ground source heat pumps, which means they've got underfloor heating in their day rooms, and then the day rooms are insulated by the seed and grass roofs. And they've also got a front garden and a back garden, which is quite unusual for a traveller site. The amount of space they've got is very unusual for a traveller site. They've got loads of space, they've got a massive day room which has got their living room, kitchen, loads of facilities in there. So they've got the best of both, really. They've got everything they want, but they can still live like a traveller.
If government funding is going to be directed towards the job ready, there's a real risk that we have this marginalised group of people who, for whatever reason, and I don't think we have to be very careful that we don't try to pigeonhole people into the reason why they're not in work. It could be family circumstances, it could be things that happened in their past, it could be where they are right now, it could be lack of skills, it may be that they've just been out of work for a period of time and have lost the confidence to get into work.
Giving people the opportunity to trial a work experience placement with them. One, the individual gets the opportunity to see whether they like that type of work, but two, the employer is getting the opportunity to add something back to the community.
I had many years in the care system. I had previously spent 2 years in a psychiatric unit as a teenager, and from there on went into many care homes. And before the job that I'm in now, I hadn't had any employment whatsoever. I got in touch with them several years ago now. I didn't know anything about them and spoke to them, and were really amazed at what they had on to offer and thought that would really work for me. They treated me as an individual that I am, and together we came up between us with a care plan and a way that I would progress at my own pace. The support was just amazing. It was consistent with so many areas, not just the practical support, but emotional support as well to keep me going. And despite having no qualifications, no previous job history, I was completely accepted for who I was and what I had to offer as a person.
Obviously Hayley, with her sort of background and the experience that she has, brings something extra to the picture and probably another level of understanding to some of our clients, which the rest of us haven't had on a personal level. As somebody who's employed Hayley now as a member of staff, that's something that wouldn't have happened unless you come to us as a volunteer. We wouldn't have known Hayley, and I don't think unless that link had been with Meridian East, Hayley would have approached us either. So we've got a valuable member of staff who wouldn't have approached us, and we'd always take those links with Meridian East to get a wider spectrum of potential volunteers, and who knows what develops from there.
Well, obviously with Phil's circumstances, what happened to him with the stroke and everything, but now he's had an opportunity to come out and do something that he enjoys doing. The labour-orientated job, so there's no problem there, but as I say, if he needs to tell me anything or needs to get anything, I will write it down, or he does sign language type thing, not the thing, but the this sort of thing, which helped.
I've had 2 minutes, years, a job, but I had a stroke anymore, so this I would go do something else.
Broadland as a group is a partnership organisation. The partners of the Homes and Communities Agency, the partners of our local authority partners, the partners of our contractors, our consultants, it's actually a team exercise. So yes, we could not deliver anything without others. But equally, others couldn't deliver what they need to deliver without our assistance.